Hello there guys from Santiago Airport in Chile, where this afternoon I am taking a flight up to Bogota in Colombia. Now it was supposed to be with LATAM on one of their 787 Dreamliners, but when I had a look at the booking a couple of days ago, I discovered that they have changed it to WAMOS Air, which I don't know much about really, but I guess LATAM haven't got enough aircraft at the moment. WAMOS Air have been flying this route for a number of weeks now, I believe. So it is what it is, isn't it? So I've got seat 1A in business class today. Originally I booked that because it was next to a window. Now it's on an A330-200 and it's next to the aisle. It is what it is, isn't it? We'll go and find out what it's all about. I'm going to head through security and check out the lounge, which I believe is LATAM's biggest in South America. So yeah, we'll see what that's all about, won't we? I will catch you inside the terminal building. Come on, let's go. It was a bit of a grey day outside for once on this trip, and I was glad to get inside. It was probably the best day to be leaving Chile weather-wise. The Terminal 2 international departures on level 3 for me. I'd taken the Tbh airport shuttle here from the bus station right outside my hotel in Santiago, and it cost me 2,000 Chilean pesos, which is about £1.58, and you can't go wrong for that, can you? Now on the departure board, my flight was the 1540 to Bogota at the bottom left here. I headed for passport control, which was through the doors and very quiet today, and into the bag check area. Maximum time for all this was about 5 minutes, and that was an excellent first impression of this airport. Very efficient. And through the usual duty-free area, it was then up the escalator to the LATAM Lounge's reception. And here you have three options: the World Member Lounge, the Premium Lounge, and the Signature Lounge. Now, access varies depending on your status with LATAM, but most importantly, if you're flying in business, as I was, you can gain access to the Signature Lounge, which according to the guy on reception is the best lounge in South America. Sao Paulo says hi.
¿Habla español?
English?
Well, if you're flying in business class with LATAM, you have access to the Signature Lounge. It's the best lounge in South America. Enjoy.
That's what I'd like to hear. Thank you very much. Cheers. It was a nice lounge, I must agree. I think it's quite new, and it is in fact the largest lounge in South America apparently, with a diverse gastronomic offering according to their website, premium and renowned drinks, workspaces, kids areas, sleeping area and shower facilities. Now here's the thing, you can actually pay to get in, but the minimum fee is, get this right, $80 US. Well, I was very good and started with just a coffee. Now, there was a good selection of hot food on offer, along with some of the aforementioned premium drinks. I had salmon with Arabic rice and salad, and a glass of cava. I had to ask for that. Yeah, it was very nice though, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't have too much here, as I was intended to eat later on the plane. Check out this mirror in the toilets, and also the flush button. I love stuff like this. You don't get it on National Express ones, do you? But yeah, overall, it was a great lounge and well worth 3 hours of your time. The only negatives for me were the lack of an apron or runway view, and it was a little bit too warm. Anyway, boarding was apparently 14:30 for this flight, so I thought it was probably best to head for the gate in good time for our departure, which was currently showing us on time, but yeah, still a good hour and 10 minutes away. Right then guys, here we are at the gate, well gates 9 and 7 actually, at Santiago. The pilots are over there. I can't quite make out whether it's LATAM crew or not. I mean, that's going to be one of the differences between a wet lease and a damp lease, isn't it? But yeah, we're supposed to be boarding at 14:30. Never going to happen, is it? It's nearly 14:50 now. Scheduled departure is 15:40. So yeah, various people milling around as per usual, but not much happening yet. Let's see where we go from here. Well, fortunately it was down the jet bridge. I was in Group 1, so one of the first to board the aircraft, ECNUI, a 16.5-year-old Airbus A330-200, originally delivered to Aeroflot, before ending up with WAMOS Air in 2022.
Hola, bienvenido. Por aquí, adelante.
Gracias. I was greeted at the door and turned left into the business class cabin, 20 seats in a 1-2-1 configuration. Another friendly flight attendant inquired as to my seat and, at the second attempt, showed me where it was.
Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Qué asiento tiene?
1A.
1A, voy con vos.
Thank you very much.
1A, this is 1.
Lovely.
Can I take your flight, sir?
Thank you very much. Yeah, she was really friendly actually, and quite happy to chat about the aircraft and the airline as I settled into my seat. Right guys, on board LA710 from Santiago up to Bogota, Colombia. Speaking to one of the flight attendants there. It's totally WAMOS, crew, pilots, aircraft, everything. So it's properly wet lease, isn't it? Just settling into this seat now. The weather's a little bit cloudy actually, so I'm not sure we're going to see that much on the way. Looking at the routings for previous flights, it looks like it kind of heads out over the Pacific, kind of northwest, and then sort of turns northeast. Anyway, here we go. Right, going to settle in, catch you in a bit. And we push back at 15:46 past a LATAM 787 at the next gate, which is what I was originally booked on. Well, checking the LATAM app a few days before this flight, I discovered that the aircraft had been swapped, and there was a note under the schedule that it would now be operated by WAMOS Air. I'd originally booked seat 1A because on the LATAM 787 I knew it would be closer to the window, and now the same seat on this A330 was closer to the aisle, which I always try to avoid, to be honest. And there was no notification of this change, and by the time I discovered it, every other seat in business had been taken. Well, has this happened to you? Let me know in the comments below. I've got another example that's recently happened to me, and I'll share that in the replies, but I guess these days it seems to be part and parcel of flying. But the most annoying bit is that I wasn't told about it. I have flown with LATAM before in one of their 777s, and I must say I was very impressed with the seat, but I'd be interested to know how this one compared. The other thing to note is that whilst we were at the gate, orders had been taken for dinner, usual sort of thing, but no pre-departure drinks were offered nor any hot towels. And first world problems I know, and it's not a deal breaker, is it? But I'm always going to compare with other airlines so you guys know what you're going to get, or not, as the case may be. And the flight time was given as 5 hours according to the screen, which was clearly wrong, but maybe that was due to the time difference. Anyway, the captain came on during the taxi and confirmed it would be 6 hours and 12 minutes. And the safety drill was conducted in Spanish first and then English, and at 16:10 we turned on to runway 17R. Enjoy the takeoff with me as we make our way down what felt like quite a rough runway actually for an airport this size, and then up into the clouds, heading for the much more scenic skies above. Yeah, this was more like it, and the tops of the mountains that surround Santiago were peeking through. An awesome sight indeed. I'm not sure if the terrain here makes Santiago a difficult airport to fly into and out of, but I remember our approach a week earlier being quite spectacular, and looking out the window at this point was certainly more entertaining than looking at the IFE. Yeah, a bit of a weird one, the IFE really. We had this quite modern looking touch sensitive controller thing here, yet some of the films that have been recently added were quite dated. The Mummy, anyone? Yeah, the moving map, well, this is one of my favourite things on an IFE, but yeah, it was pretty limited on this aircraft. It wasn't really worth the bother. I just ended up watching stuff I downloaded on my tablet, or reading my book, or just looking out the window. And going back to the seat position, well, the staggered 1-2-1 configuration meant I was probably closer to the feet of the guy in the middle of row 2 than I was to the window. Well, it felt quite exposed here actually, and every 5 minutes or so somebody would use the toilet on this side of the aircraft, and then after they'd finished they'd brush past me, and then you'd get this kind of smell of air freshener from the toilet, and you'll see why that was in a minute. Anyway, after about an hour we did get hot towels, and it was time for the meal service. Well, everything was handed out on one tray, so I ate my salmon starter as quickly as I could, because I didn't want my main to go cold. Well, I'd gone for the pork, but the potatoes were a bit mushy, but the meat was okay, and I washed it all down with a glass of Sauvignon Blanc. Again, comparing this meal with others I have had in business class, it was a little bit underwhelming, to be honest. The dessert was the nicest part actually, and then after dinner I had a coffee served with a LATAM branded chocolate, which was also nice. I was enjoying the views outside as we headed north in the afternoon sun. Wonderful. But I did need to check out the toilet, and yeah, it seemed okay on the face of it. There's a big mirror here, but on closer inspection, well, I suddenly remembered where I was, and it wasn't really any different to any economy class toilet I've ever been in. And there was no bench to get changed on, for example, and no additional toiletries either. And yeah, going back to the air freshener smell, well, here they were, tied to a handle. So yeah, all in all, it was very average really. And of course, when I returned to the cabin, the crew had been round shutting all the blinds. Well, I opened mine a bit. Not fully, as I was trying to be a bit considerate, but yeah, there was a lovely sunset happening outside. I just couldn't resist. What do you think of all this shutting the blinds in the afternoon kind of thing? Well, personally, I reckon everybody should have the option to choose, and if people do want to sleep in the afternoon, well, eye masks and earplugs are provided. Again, let me know in the comments below. We were over 4 hours into the flight now and flying over the Pacific Ocean. It was a bit dark to show you the amenity kit at this point, but I did have a look at it back at my hotel later on, and yeah, it was a bit basic to be honest. I mean, no lotions or potions as some people would say. A nice bag though. And there was no Wi-Fi on this flight. There was at-sea to USB connectivity, but that was a bit temperamental when I tried to use it. And with about 1 hour and 45 minutes to go, the crew came round with a partly hot towel and then took drinks orders for the second meal. Well, I had another Sauvignon Blanc and a glass of water with ice. And the second meal was a kind of a warm beef and cheese sandwich with vegetable crisps. This was actually really tasty, and I noted that I ate mine as we crossed over the equator, which sounds like a great clickbait title for a video, that doesn't it? I ate my crisps as we crossed the equator. I was shocked. Anyway, it was dark as we made our final approach into Bogota airport. Now, how much did I pay for this flight? Well, it's kind of difficult to say, but let me explain. This was the final segment of a one-way business class fare that I'd purchased on the internet using a well-known third-party booking app. The first leg was between Madrid and Sao Paulo in Brazil with Iberia, and the second leg from there on to Buenos Aires with LATAM. The third leg from Buenos Aires to Santiago was also with LATAM, and finally the flight we're now on up to Bogota from Santiago. And note that the short haul sections 2 and 3 were in narrow-bodied A320s and are classed as premium economy. But I was able to put the front row on each flight, and the middle seat remains unoccupied, so it's very similar to the European business class model really. Price all in was £827 and 81 pence. Well, I could have done it for less than £800, but I chose to pay a little bit extra for a flexible ticket, just in case. Now, obviously, I had to make my way to Madrid, and that was an extra £45. But yeah, the amount of money that you save doing it this way, as opposed to flying direct to just about anywhere in the world from the UK long haul, well, it's well worth it in my opinion. And yeah, I think it was pretty good value overall.
Por favor, permanezcan sentados. Por favor.
We landed at 21:31, 41 minutes late in the end, and at 2,546 metres above sea level. Well, there's not much I can show you really in the dark, but we drove around the airport for a bit, and then we stopped because we didn't have a gate, and then finally we found a gate, and we sought attachment to the waiting jet bridge. And once that was done, I made my way off the aircraft and headed for my hotel in a disco taxi. It was a bit of an odd one really, all in all, and I slept on it, and in the morning I just took a couple of minutes to summarise the journey. Right then guys, Bogota, Colombia. I got here yesterday actually with WAMOS Air operating on behalf of LATAM. It was a proper wet lease, this one. It was the crew, the pilots, the aircraft, everything was WAMOS Air. And yeah, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, well, it started off and I had access to the LATAM Signature Lounge, which is the best lounge in South America, according to the chap on the desk. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all, really. And there were no views, unfortunately, if you like that sort of thing, which I do. But yeah, everything else was pretty good. And yeah, made our way to the aircraft, and boarding was a little bit late, but fine, really. Found my way to my seat 1A. Yeah, no pre-departure drink was offered, and we were late getting away. And the meal was average, really. The crew, yeah, they were okay, I suppose, really. I don't think they were on a par with other airlines, to be honest. I got the impression that they were kind of learning as they went a little bit. Toilet, well, that was bog standard, pardon the pun. I mean, it was an economy toilet, really, wasn't it? Full stop. The in-flight entertainment, a little bit dated, really, and yeah, the aircraft information, that kind of stuff that I like. It wasn't really that great. The seat was okay, but a little bit too exposed for my liking. I wouldn't have chosen it ordinarily, but with the aircraft swap and all that, and what could I do? And all the other seats were booked out by the time I found out about it. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's when you hire a car and you're looking through the list and you think, oh, a VW Golf, that'll do for me, and then underneath the VW Golf picture, it says it in small writing, or similar model, and then you get to the hire company and they're like, oh yeah, well, all the VW Golfs have gone, but we've got this really nice Fiat, and it's like, right, really, okay. So yeah, overall, it's just a little bit underwhelming, and there was a lack of communication from LATAM about it, and so I didn't know that there was an aircraft swap or anything until I actually looked on their website a couple of days prior to checking in. Yeah, I've had a good experience in business class long haul with LATAM before, and that's fine, but on this occasion it's just kind of put me off booking with them again. I mean, it's in terms of the long haul business class flights I have taken, this is probably the worst of the lot, really. But yeah, I mean, I can't complain too much, can I, really? I mean, it's 6 hours plus business class, and as I detailed earlier on, the price I paid for all my flights was pretty good, really. But yeah, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'd like to thank you all for watching, and your support is invaluable and is really appreciated, as always, guys. Thank you very much. I shall catch you on another adventure soon, I'm sure, and until the next time, cheers for now.